Hey, it's Pio here, and today I want to talk a little bit about combat in Stoneshard. This is a video for, well, people who just picked up the game or picked up the genre and who are having a bit of a trouble, especially with the prologue or just with combat in general. And hopefully I can give you a little explanation in how you should approach it, and maybe a few tips or hints at what you're doing wrong or what you should be doing. So first of all, before you even get to combat, everything starts with preparation. So right now I'm standing in front of a closed door and I can expect enemies to be behind it. Now, since I currently don't have anything ranged, no spells, I can make sure to use a bow in my offhand setup. So this is pretty much what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch to my bow. I can switch between weapons with W. So I make sure I have my bow and then I open the door. And there you see, enemies. I kind of expected it, so hey. So what do we do? First, if this is your first time seeing these enemies, you should right click and inspect the enemy. You can see if they have any abilities or their general statuses. Now, these enemies are not really that dangerous, so yeah, let's start chipping away at them. Well, even before I start chipping away at them, I want to mention in this case we see two enemies here. With the middle mouse button we can pan around, and sometimes in outside, like in open areas, you have to kind of do that to see the whole environment. But in this case, you have two enemies. I could switch to my sword, rush forward, start hitting them, or I could chip away at their HP with my bow. Even though my character is a melee character, I can still use a bow and chip away at their HP, or at least lure them. And the second thing is, I want to lure them into a spot where only one can attack me at a time. So I have to use the environment to my advantage. So I'm gonna stay right here and start firing at them. And there we go. So the bat has not actually reached me yet, and this is what you should also do in combat. You should kind of anticipate what the enemy is gonna do and plan your turns ahead. So in this case, I don't want to fight the bat in melee with a bow, which means I'm just gonna press W to switch back to my other weapon setup. However, this will consume a turn, which means the bat will be in melee range. And this is kind of what you want to do. You want to force enemies to move into your range to fight on your terms, so you get the first swing. So in this case, yeah, we just slap it. Here, again, I could switch over to bow. That would make him move forward once. I could shoot once. He would move forward once. And then I could switch back to melee. So, yeah, but, it's not worth it at this point. I think I already hit him once. He should be going down in one hit anyway, hopefully. So, let's move forward once. And here's another very common situation. What to do? Again, we're one tile apart. I think I'm just gonna pass my turn. I do that with space. He moves in, and I smack him. Took 2 hits. That is pretty much how you should plan your combat. You should plan accordingly, and as you see, I didn't rush into the middle of the room. I just took a step or two forward because I didn't know what's waiting for me. There could be more enemies, maybe casters. Again, this guy is similar to what we've already seen, so we should be fine. We also got a level actually, so let's try something interesting. Let's go vitality, and what does this scale off? Strength and agility. Yeah, let's go strength. There we go. So let's pick up the skill. Okay, Heroic Charge. Let's see. We have quite a range on this. So, again, plan out your moves. I could rush forward to meet him, or I could take advantage of Heroic Charge. Since it adds damage and crit chance for each tile traveled, I want to move backwards once. Just to get a little bit of distance and to get a clear sight with the enemy. There we go. And another 1-2 should kill him. There we go. Here, again, one step at a time. Again, 3 turns before I can get this. So I probably want to just move backwards. And lure the enemy so we fight on my terms. And again, took minimal damage even after fighting, what, 3-4 enemies? And that's how you should approach the game. One step at a time, always fight on your terms, never let the enemy get a jump on you. Also, abuse choke points, and that's basically it. Again, there's a couple of things, there's a little more finesse to it, like searching for traps as often as you possibly can. Sometimes using other parts of terrain to block off enemies. There's quite a couple of things, but generally a lot of people just do these basic steps wrong. Always have the enemy move into your range so you get the first hit. Plan your turns in advance, at least 1 or 2 turns in advance to see what the enemy is going to be doing. Switch to ranged weapons whenever you have to or can. Again, even as a melee build, 1 or 2 arrows deal a bit of damage. Doesn't matter, like right now there's nothing to attack, might as well switch to bow and slowly move forward. Doesn't hurt. It's better to get the jump on the enemy and hit him once or twice before they can hit you. Another thing is with buffs. Currently this character doesn't have any self buffs. Later on, some builds, some skills get self-buffy things. For example, stuff like ranged weapons. So if you, for example, have take aim, which you should always use take aim to fire arrows, the 50% extra accuracy is worth spending 1 turn, especially once you get precision. You can use these tiny little buffs like precision, take aim, use it before you open the door, then open the door. You still would have 1 turn of the buff left, and just helps with dealing some extra damage. 1 more. Oh, we get another shot, then we switch to sword, and then we kill the enemy. And that's about it. I see so many people do these basic things wrong. It's really that simple. And another thing you should really watch out for is not starting to spam things. This is a turn-based game. Take your time. Every single click you do, make sure that what happened after the click is in your favor. If you start spamming clicks, oftentimes what can happen is you suddenly get in a bad situation and you get in too deep. There we go. Let's lure him. Oh, that was a bad idea from me, but we should be fine. But yeah, you take 1 hit at a time so you can see what you're affected by. You can inspect the enemy in between. Like, I can see he's injured, bleeding. He has a self buff. All these things take time, and when you see people play these games faster, it's because they already know what's happening. They already know all of the buffs. When you're still figuring the game out, figuring the enemies out, you have to take your time. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up in terrible situations. Right now, I could push on forward, but I feel like I'm low on HP. Let's just back off. no big deal. Close the door and then rest up a little bit. The only thing resting does is burn through your, what is it called? Hunger and thirst, which is bad, but as long as you have a water skin and a couple of foods left, you should be fine. Take your time. Again, no rush to get anywhere. And the same thing goes for bosses. In the boss fight, it's even more important. I've noticed that a lot of people just YOLO it hard and then end up dying to the boss. Take your time. Really take time. The thing with the boss is he telegraphs his attacks. And it's fairly easy to dodge all of them. As long, again, as you follow my advice of always letting the enemy come to you, so you get the first hit on him. Of course, that wouldn't work with ranged enemies, but hey, the first boss is not a ranged enemy, so nothing to fear there. The second thing is, the boss kind of uses a mechanic that's not well explained, which it only becomes obvious if you have a skill with a knockback. Now, it's something. There we have a trap. We don't really have to go past here, so whatever. If you knock back an enemy, or if an enemy knocks you back, you have to land on an empty cell. If you don't land on an empty cell, you will get stunned. And that's generally not that great. Wait, wrong way. You don't want to hit a wall or anything. So always make sure that there's empty space behind you when you're fighting the boss, and that you're not trapping yourself between walls. Because every time he uses an AoE, you want to be able to have as much range of motion as possible. The same thing goes for any fight basically. Try to stay away from walls. Even though I said, like, use choke points to your advantage, it still means you want to stand here, so you have as much range of motion as possible. The enemies only can get stuck here. They can't move past you and diagonally here. Or even if you're standing here, like, yeah, as you see, you have to go down first. So always leave yourself as much space as possible to maneuver. That is very important, and that's basically what these type of games are about. Having as many options as possible, as well as denying the enemy as many options as possible. It's a strategy game. It's or rather than a strategy game, it's more of a tactics game. But people think it's more of an action RPG, which is why they end up, well, dying a lot. So yeah, hopefully these tips on tricks or insights are gonna help you on your way to conquer the game and conquer its dungeons. But yeah, this is gonna be it from me for today, and have a good day. Aha, I tricked ya. I wanted to show you also the boss fight from the run that you've just seen previously, where I explained the combat mechanics and how you should fight. And as you see, only level 5. I could have gotten up to level 6 if I really wanted. The gear is nothing special really. I got a little lucky, I guess, with the sturdy quilted coat, but honestly everything else is pretty horrid. Again, in preparation, disenchantment, we don't need that. A nice thing would be to get a morale buff, but let's check if we could. What's our morale actually? It's pretty much maxed out, so pointless to try to use that. We could heal up our hand. Everything else is full, so yeah, let's rest up. There we go. Fully healed. And let's face the boss. Oh yeah, I did get a potion of stone skin and a potion of anti-venom, which is completely useless. But that's about it. Let's see what we can do. And again, this is where the turn-based really comes into play. So we have two statues, we know both of them are the enemies. I would suggest go for the left one first. You can finish the fight even if you go for the right one, but hey. Okay, you see AoE is cast. You do get an indication something's gonna happen here. Maybe I don't want to stand in there, so let's go. I got hit once. Now we get a buff of heroism, which is perfect. Now, there we go again on the floor, moving out and continuing attacking. Okay. So we have two zombos. If I go down here, we can attack both of them. Let's just do that. Oh, yeah, I forgot that happens. Let's move on to the next statue. And you want to do this turn by turn. You're in no rush. Healing zombos. Fine. Here we go. Okay, so again, nothing too scary. Boss started. Since we have a potion of stone skin, you know what? Might as well drink it now. Enemy shows us what he's gonna do. We just move out of the way. He's one tile away from us. He's probably gonna either use a spell or he's gonna attack us and move towards us. And here it goes, besties. So we have one turn of something to do. We could charge him, or we could use the buff. So let's buff. Alright. He is gonna cast his spell, and we're just gonna move away from him. Why? So we're gonna do more damage with Heroic Charge. He's gonna eat a corpse. We're gonna hit him. So, in this situation, we could move back towards him, but then he would just hit us. So, we're just gonna wait a turn. Okay, he's showing us what he's gonna do. We're just gonna move here. And continue whacking him. It's another corpse. Come closer. Nope. Fine. And he's gonna fly all the way down here, which is fine for us. We get to, let's check the range. Okay, range is fine. He keeps on eating. Getting slightly unfortunate with the corpses here. And again. Nothing too difficult. Yeah, we don't have enough energy for Heroic Charge. We would need 23, so let's wait a turn. And jump up. Come closer. There we go. I'm doing fairly bad at positioning him. Come on. That's perfect. Yeah, I don't want to go towards a wall, so let's just charge him. I don't know if this is a safe spot or not, so just play it safe. And there we go. Easy as this. I don't think he even hit me once, did he? Oh, he hit me with his, like, melee attacks, but those do no damage. Again, this is how you should play these fights. Take your time, go turn by turn, don't click through actions too fast, it's gonna punish you. And plan ahead. Thanks for watching, I'm out, and see you next time.